Today we're going to be practicing the forbidden art of glazing, the banned art of me defending someone I like from people who do not like them. Call me a white knight, guys, because I'm putting on my white knight armor. I've defended Destiny, I've spoke out against the leafiest here haters, and now it's time to defend an extremely unknown YouTuber who none of you have ever heard of. Penguin Zero. Penguin Zero, also known as Moist Critical, also known as Critikal, also known as Charlie, is a YouTuber with 14 million subscribers. He's been on the platform for years, initially posting gaming videos where he would do tutorials and commentaries over games like Modern Warfare 2, Halo Reach, Fallout New Vegas, and really any game that was popular at the time. At one point, he decided to play a game that was more comedic in nature as opposed to these gritty, serious titles. At the time, it was covered in a video by Ray William Johnson, who was one of the biggest YouTubers back in 2013, with his show Equals 3. People really enjoyed watching someone with a monotone voice attempts to play a goofy flash game and make jokes at its expense.
What's up, everybody? It's Critikal, and this is a video for the most difficult game I've ever played in my life. It's called Q-Wop, and it's impossible.
Today, this video has 11 million views. And since then, Charlie spent the last decade making videos about whatever interests him at the time. Sometimes it's video games, sometimes it's telling a goofy story, and a lot of the time it's drama videos. He reports on the current news of the day to basically fill the audience in on whatever stupid internet thing is happening at the moment. Sniper Wolf drama, Nikocado Avocado, greedy Twitch streamers, and sometimes this delves into more serious territory, like with a certain YouTube creep that the website does not want me to talk about. All of this content is pretty simple in format. It's Charlie sitting in front of his webcam talking into his Audio-Technica AT2020 about whatever's going on. Sometimes he shows a screenshot, sometimes he plays a clip, but for the most part, this is the extent of the content. That's really all he has.
Listen, you know, I dislike sexual assault as much as the next guy. That's some bad stuff. Boo! Don't like it.
And the Penguin Zero channel is probably one of the most respected in the YouTube community. Apart from a few people he's called out like Rice Gum who don't like him, pretty much every YouTuber has a fondness for Critikal and has no problem with him. But with a channel of his size, of course there are going to be criticisms people have. In recent times on sites like Twitter and the Gram, I've noticed a lot of people posting memes at his expense to basically call the content shit. And these are meant to be funny, but truly they also do express a genuine opinion people have. And quite a few people share that genuine opinion. So here we have a screenshot with a commentary guy as the YouTube username. Then we have titles like Popular Guy Situation is Crazy, Penis Man Situation is Insane, Huge Poop and Fart and Drama, and the time on all of these videos, instead of being like a normal timestamp, it says 2 times longer than it needs to be. And the point of this meme is basically to say that all of Charlie's videos are the same, they're too long, the thumbnails are all the same, right? Just like, you know, a screenshot of him. The topics are dumb, that kind of thing. Obviously it is, you know, it's meant to be funny, but this also expresses a genuine opinion right here, which is, you know, a distaste for his content. Then we have this green text, which says, "Hey guys, it's Critikal." Sorry, I gotta put on my Critikal voice.
Hey guys, it's Critikal. Today we're taking yet another clip from my live stream of me watching a YouTube video that somebody else made and getting 1 million views for what little I add in words with my boring, dry, tired voice. Also, for comedic effect, I'll stretch the image on the YouTube thumbnail for the billionth time. Please laugh.
And this is not the only green text I've seen. There's actually a bunch of them which communicate pretty similar things.
Hey guys, Charlie here. Here's me explaining every minute detail of a 30-second clip on Twitter over the course of 10 minutes. Here's the most milquetoast YouTuber or corporate drama you've ever heard. Reviews things people like, it's good. Reviews things people don't like, it's bad. All of this is funny because I use the words penis, butt, and fart in every sentence.
So by now we all get the idea, I think, right? You guys can understand what these people are trying to say. They're calling his content lazy, boring, repetitive. They're saying he basically does like React style stuff where he reacts to something that doesn't really add much. They're calling his humor unfunny, and they also call him a fence sitter more or less and say he gives the same opinion everyone else has, basically to argue that he panders and just repeats what the audience thinks. Now, if your issue with Critikal is that every video of his is super simple, just him sitting in a white t-shirt with his hat on in front of the camera and talking about some relatively trivial thing, if your problem is his humor, then I can't argue with you on both of those counts, right? If you genuinely just don't like that kind of content where someone's just sitting and talking about something that's trending, then that's something I can never take away from you. That literally just comes down to a personal preference. I do like that kind of content. In fact, I like to make it on this channel. That's basically what I'm doing right now. I basically sit down and talk about whatever's going on or whatever is on my mind, and that's always been a kind of content that interests me. I also like video essays or skits or stuff with a higher production value. I like movies, I like music videos, right? I think there's a lot of enjoyment to come from more artistic content, but I also have fun watching Critikal videos where he just sits down and talks about something. It's dumb popcorn stuff, right? I also like his humor because I have the mind of a 9-year-old and I haven't progressed since the 4th grade. If you find him unfunny, fair enough, you know, say what you want about that. His humor is repetitive, his videos are undoubtedly repetitive, repetitive, but much like Pavlov's dog, I will just keep ringing that bell every time I want a critical video about the latest drama, and chances are, I'm gonna get it. As for his stuff being lazy, I mean, the work itself is relatively simple compared to a lot of normal jobs, right? For me to cap about that, right, like as a YouTuber myself, I mean, you basically pick a topic, you do a little planning for maybe an hour or so, type out what you want it to be about, familiarize yourself with what's going on. Sometimes I'll write a script on this channel. I used to write every single video. Now I write every few videos. This video is actually written right now. Pretty much every single word I'm saying right now is typed out on a Google document that's like 2,000 words. And then you turn on your webcam, you talk about what you want to talk about for a bit, you do some minor editing, and then you post it. There's no doubt that the actual day-to-day work is relatively easy, but considering that he's done this every single day for more than 10 years, his content has stood the test of time, and 10 years later, unlike most YouTubers, he's still here. I think that's pretty impressive, you know? And it's not for nothing. I mean, he's always the first to a story. Most of the time, he doesn't mess up the facts around it. I'd say he's not a very lazy person. If you want to call the content itself, on a typical basis, lazy, because he's not doing a ton of After Effects stuff, and he's not doing a bunch of motion graphics, and, you know, it's not fully scripted, and it's not acted or whatever. Like it's literally just a guy sitting in front of a computer. If that's your problem, like, you know, talk your shit, whatever. But I'd say he's not a lazy person, especially considering outside of his videos, he does a lot. He has an esports organization that he runs himself. I believe he's producing a comic book. He also has a band that's released 9 songs, which is enough to be a full album. I mean, it's not like this dude is sitting around all day eating Cheetos. Now, if the stuff he does not impress you, then, like, that's, you know, one thing, like, you can say that, but I wouldn't call him a lazy person. And this brings us to the next claim, that Critikal is a fence sitter. I've yet to see any, like, direct evidence of this. Let's say, like, an instance where he lied about his opinion on something. So I'll speak more generally. Critikal is someone you would say typically doesn't have a controversial opinion. His thoughts are generally shared by a large majority of the audience, and as a result, he's seen as someone who just says what everyone else thinks because he knows it'll have a positive reception. Now, I disagree with that idea entirely. I'd like to pose a different theory entirely, okay? What if Charlie is just a normal guy? He's a normal guy from Florida who likes metal and video games and comic books and fart jokes, like probably 25% of guys from Florida in his age group like. That's it. It's not some nefarious thing where he lies to get where he is. It's not some cynical opinion. He just genuinely says how he feels, and how he feels is typically how a normal ass dude would also feel. Make no mistake, he's gotten into some trouble for his takes before, like when he made a video saying what iDubbbz did back in 2016 was not that bad and didn't do that much damage to the world. He basically defended iDubbbz about something that Ian himself wanted to apologize for.
None of your videos came from a place of hate. At least I don't think so. I don't think you were ever a racist or a bigot or anything like that. You used those words for shock humor. That was the whole goal, the edgy shock humor of using those words. And you made it pretty clear that that was kind of your drive. And he does mention it in this video with the it's either all okay or none of it's okay mentality. But I really think most people were able to recognize that the things he was saying weren't coming from a place of legitimate hate.
And the comment section is pure cope and pure malding from literally every single comment. Like, this is Critikal's audience. They didn't like that video. He ended up taking shit from other big channels for this take as well. And when he got shit for it, he made another video where he basically said, hey, you guys know what? It sucks that you feel that way, but that is my opinion, and I'm not going to change that. People called him racist for his take that iDubbbz saying NF on YouTube was not that bad. And he, instead of cowering, responded and was like, hey man, sorry that my opinion makes you mad, but that's how I feel.
Because there are just going to be some things that I believe that other people aren't. And that's okay. But what I don't appreciate and what really gets my ass twisted is people labeling me horrible things on a complete misunderstanding of what I actually believe. Or them just making up things that I believe, or putting their whole ass in my mouth and filling it with words that I've never said or even came close to trying to express.
Like, this is an example of a time when the broader YouTube community wanted him to apologize for his take. They wanted Critikal to apologize, and he didn't apologize to them. He was like, hey, sorry you disagree, but this is how I feel. That's the opposite of fence sitting. Now, I would say he didn't even need to explain himself with a follow-up video, but if he wanted to, and he wanted to dispel some claims people were making, then I don't really blame him, especially with the amount of subscribers he has. He wants to put down those claims as fast as possible with how big his brand is and the sheer size of his channel.
The next biggest thing by far is me saying that I don't think the apology was warranted. Warrant maybe wasn't the right word, since that's the one a lot of people are really like underlining and highlighting and giving me an F on the book report for. So to explain what I meant, when I'm saying I don't think the apology was warranted, I'm saying I don't think him being a product of edgy internet culture is necessarily something that should have been weighing on his mind so heavily for the last 7 years, that he's lived with this constant guilt, this burden on his shoulders, where he's feeling as though he created edgy internet culture. The way he talked about in this video really made me feel very bad for him, that he's had this kind of looming disgust at the man he used to be because he partook in edgy internet culture, which wasn't just him. His channel wasn't the genesis of edginess. He didn't create it. He was molded by it, like Bane from Batman. And I feel as though the content he used to make did have a message. He wasn't coming from a place of genuine hatefulness. I don't think he was ever like a real racist or an actual bigot. So when I said I don't think the apology's warranted, what I mean is, I don't think what he did was so damaging and scarring to the online space or individuals that for 7 years he's needed to carry this guilt where he felt obligated to finally apologize for it. If people really thought he held these racist, bigoted beliefs, I don't think many people would have been signing up for Creator Clash 1 and 2, right? Like, this is the first time he's publicly acknowledged it and fully apologized for it. He's, of course, talked about distancing himself from it on podcasts, but this is the first time he's really owned up to it publicly. But I think most people knew he wasn't, like, this evil, racist person. So what I was saying is, I just don't think what he did gave a ton of people the impression that he really was a horrible, racist, bigoted person.
For him to even say this with the size his channel is like super crazy. Nobody with a channel that big would look at 2016 and be willing to say it's not that big of a deal. What literally everyone does now is talk about how they're so thankful YouTube cleaned it all up and, oh god, 2016 was such a hellscape. We were so different back then. Edgy stuff was so bad. The world is so much safer now. Yeah, right, buddy. it's really that serious, yeah. So in the end, I just don't think this guy's a fence sitter. If anything, it seems like he's willing to stick his neck out when he has a take everyone else disagrees with. But most of the time, what he thinks happens to align with what the broader internet also thinks. Hence why a lot of people call him a fence sitter, because they want to watch someone, I guess, who has like the most extreme take. And if you want to see that, like, fair enough, go watch someone like Bosch, but like Penguin Zero didn't really do anything bad. And there's no doubt also that like if you're criticizing his audience, there probably are a lot of people who watch Critical because he validates their opinion on something. I think that's a bad way to engage with content in general, but hey, to each their own, okay? To me, the appeal of Penguin Zero has never been the production value or the eloquent wordplay or the amazing, fantastic writing, okay? The editing. What's always made his channel good is just him. The simplicity is actually the appeal for me, and probably a lot of other people would agree. Him just sharing his thoughts, gaming, existing, posting content about the stuff that I like to hear about. It's as simple as that.
To a massive YouTuber named Point Crow. Oh my god. What the Nintendo even sent an assassin after me with Io here with that jump scare. Jesus. That was terrifying. It's good to see you though, Io. You heard me talking about Nintendo and just wanted to come in and chime in on how they are. I respect it.
If you don't like the content, then that's your personal opinion. But I think the idea that he's a fence sitter or lies about his thoughts or something like that is just silly. All right, guys, the glazing is over, okay? If you liked the video, leave a like. If you disliked it, leave a dislike. And drop a comment down below with all of your thoughts on this. Do you hate Critical? Do you like him? It's always good to hear what all of you have to say, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye. And if you liked this video, consider becoming a member. For $5 a month, you get access to exclusive podcasts, unreleased videos, and the members-only Minecraft server. Thanks so much to all of my YouTube members who fund my content.